And welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario Galaxy. Last time we started the Deep Dark Galaxy, and this time I want to show off something at the Comet Observatory. You actually have one of these flight stars right at the bottom of the Comet Observatory, and you can use it to get one up at the top of the spire. One other thing to notice, if this is not your preferred method of travel, there's actually another option for you. If you go behind the entrance to the garden, there's this teleporter that takes you all the way down to the garage as well. So you have two options for reaching the top of the observatory, basically, which is actually really nice, because previously I was just scaling it the manual way, and that honestly isn't the best way to go about it. Another thing to notice, you may notice my starbit count is actually off, and that is because I did do some farming off screen. What you want to do is go to the Sling Pod Galaxy, and if you play through it, you'll get like a couple hundred starbits. But the catch is, if you actually die, you keep all the starbits you collected, but all the starbits after either the start level or after a particular checkpoint respawn. So you can just infinitely grind for starbits if you so desire. Now, I didn't go too overboard, I only got 1400, which is enough for the next Hungry Luma at 1200. But I'm saving the Hungry Luma for whenever we have just some downtime at the end of a video. So yeah. Now this one I actually had to look up because I tried finding it on my own during a practice run because I thought I knew where it was, but I wanted to actually confirm it, and I was actually completely wrong, so I am glad I double checked it. But at the same time, I find this one actually really clever. This is part of what I was talking about, where I was saying that compared to some of the previous galaxies, the Deep Dark Galaxy actually has some pretty unique level mechanics, and is generally a lot more interesting than a lot of the other worlds. Repeat boss battle aside, which actually brings up the point that Camilla, King Caliente, are both repeat boss battles, which, you know, as the saying goes, your mileage may vary. Honestly, I kind of wish this game didn't repeat bosses so much, especially King Caliente being Bowser Jr.'s like ultimate weapon. That's just lame considering he's the second boss in the game. But yeah, I do find, again, like I've said before, this game starts really strong and then kind of hits a sort of blah pace in the middle, but then picks back up at the end. And we're at that point where it picks back up, luckily. Another thing to note is, last time I commented about the Dreadnought Galaxy having one of the worst purple coin stars in the game. Either that or Battle Rock. I actually checked my completed file to double check, and it's actually both. Both are bad. But again, like I said before, with Dreadnought and Battle Rock, you're basically in a situation where you're not timed technically, but you can't go back to get purple coins if you miss them. So it's basically timed, even though it's not actually officially timed. That's obtuse and complicated as that sounds. What you have to do to get the hidden star of this world is you actually have to use a shell to destroy this ship. Like, this is so well hidden and kind of well thought out, and kind of a mechanic that's never seen again in the game. So it's really well hidden, and it's actually pretty cool. So here's another cool little section. We got a Boo, and he's got the star, which is actually interesting. So what we need to do is navigate up to that crystal on the right side, right there. If my pointer can go through my glass, which it cannot. So yeah. There are a couple of ways you can do this. You can use the bubble to actually get up to it, and that works. You can also alternatively, with a well-timed side flip wall jump, you can actually get it that way too, which is a lot more complicated to be fair, but it is an option if you so desire. Likewise, if you want to be fancy, you can always get the star Wait, the star actually spawns at the bottom, so here you have two options of what to do. One, you could use the spring and I think the bubble to launch yourself up, but I actually discovered you can actually just spin jump into it, but the depth perception is really weird. So yeah, it does take me usually a few tries. But yeah, you're intended to flip it back around once more using the little flood jet, but you don't have to if you so desire. And we have completed another galaxy for now. 1500. Okie dokie then, so now we are moving on to the Dreadnought Galaxy. I feel like making a Persona 3 joke, but I'm not sure how many people will get that. Because basically Persona's like Fire Emblem in a way, where each game seems, well, excluding Echoes apparently, each game basically ends up being more and more noticed, kind of, you know, like, it went through a period of just no one cared, but then Persona 4 happened, or in this case Awakening happened, and everyone sort of got into it, even though a lot of people do prefer Persona 3, which I kind of consider like the Path of Radiance of the Persona series, if you want to be, want to use this metaphor still, the one that's actually regarded by fans as the best, even though most people haven't played it. I feel like Persona 3 is actually more played than Path of Radiance though, which is interesting to note. I played P4 first, if you wanted to know. Summer of 2013 or 2012, I don't remember actually. Yeah. I had like a weird tonsillitis thing going on, so that's what I associate Persona's, like, I think it was at Naoto's, dungeon. I don't know if dungeon is the right word. I want to say palace, but that's Persona 5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was at Naoto's at that point. Why isn't that moving? Okay, it's just very slow. Oh, because you have to wall jump, so it gives you a lot of time. Well, that's nice of the game to do that. So you got a mushroom over here. Not really super necessary, but if you so desire, there's a mushroom. I think I'm messing with the game's gravity. The game doesn't know how to handle that, I don't think, because I was trying to sequence break effectively. But yeah, Persona 3 is argued by many to be the strongest game in the series, though I personally would say I'm a little bit undecided because I haven't finished 5 yet, to be honest. I don't know why, but for some reason I got to the end of Persona 5 and just completely lost interest. I don't know why. I got to like November 13 or so, and then I just completely lost interest for whatever reason because of other games. Yeah. You know, like, I guess after like 40 to 60 hours, a little bit of burnout is sort of inevitable. Which is why actually juggling 2 LPs while work is actually kind of nice, because, you know, I don't get as burnt out. Because I'm sure, you know, with Okami, it started out okay viewership-wise, but then kind of tanked by the end of it. So that's part of the reason I wanted to do, like, the double Let's Play thing and introduce that actually earlier. Around June, before Vesperia, because I've kind of been bouncing on Vesperia for a while, actually. Again, just because with Vesperia, that's a game that I've heard so many good things about, like Okami, but I've also just never gotten around to finishing. So yeah, same basic motivation. Oh, this part's cool. I broke it though. I think you're supposed to wall jump in the center of it as it's ascending. I think that's what you're intended to do, but I accidentally wall jumped on top of the structure and yeah, kinda broke it. So, my bad. So, I have no clue where to start. Oh, never mind. I actually know exactly what star this is. This one's actually pretty cool. What we need to do is find a thing, that will help us get to the top of the level. And this is just a ticket. Basically, we just let out a bunch of water, but because of some kind of logic, the planet's flooded now. So we can actually safely traverse. Also, one thing that I like in this area is how the music starts out really quiet, but then really kind of builds once you sort of reveal the planet's true form. I just find that a really nice musical touch. Speaking of music, random note, but because I was talking about Final Fantasy 15, I guess it is somewhat relevant. A few episodes ago I was mentioning 15, but really, if you ask me, I was actually listening to a little bit of it, and I would say 15 actually has the best soundtrack, possibly in this entire series, from what I was listening to. It has a really solid soundtrack, even though I've heard some sort of iffy things about the game, though I've actually heard that they patched, what was it, chapter, I want to say either 11 or 13, and they made it a lot more cohesive, because there are some plot holes they kind of need to patch up in the story. For whatever reason, they had to patch plot holes, which I don't remember ever hearing happening before. Patching a game's story. I was trying to trick it out, but it didn't work. So yeah, 15 is definitely a game on my radar. I've been wanting to play it for, I hate to say it, but like 8 years. That sounds like an exaggeration. I'm actually not, because I was actually hyped for it when the first trailer hit. I want to say 8 years. I'm just kind of estimating because that's when I got a PS3, and actually it was like September 09, I want to say. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm guessing 8 years, because then I'd actually have a chance of playing what was actually Versus 13 at the time. And that's a star. So yeah, that was, about 8 years. Not a game to get a PS3 for, because it's not on PS3. Yeah, I've kind of learned not to do that kind of thing. When you see a really ambitious game, and they're like, oh, this is worth buying a console for, you might want to make sure it's actually on that console first. Like, I'm actually amazed that the PS3 version of Persona 5, back to Persona, actually came out at all. It was built for PS3, so it actually runs perfectly fine on both consoles, except one is 1080p, one is 720p. I already see a lot of this level, by the way, in the future. Not now, because this isn't that bad, but this is the level I dread the most. No pun intended. I just realized, wait, I'm in the Dreadnought Galaxy. I've actually thought about Let's Playing a Persona game, actually Persona 3 being one, but I have never actually felt committed to actually doing it, mainly because it's about a 70-hour game. It took me about 70 hours on my first playthrough, but I also maxed out social links and character attributes. I don't know what the actual word for it is, but things like what was it, like intelligence and stuff like that. I think courage might be one. Dexterity maybe. I really need to play more Persona, I guess, if I'm having this much trouble remembering, even after, literal days worth of time. Okay, put things in perspective. Persona 4 took me about 80 hours, Persona 3 took me about 70 hours. That's 150 hours right there. That's a lot of hours. 150 hours divided by 24, that's kind of a lot. That's multiple days. That's all I know. 24 times, okay, I'm trying to think. 7 days of the week, right? So 24 hours times 7 would be about 168, if I'm doing the math right. So 150 hours is almost a week. Which is actually a lot if you think about the standpoint that, you know, obviously I didn't like play Persona 24/7. But anyway, back to talking about the game. This part is the purple coin level when we eventually get to the post-game. Post-game purple coins are generally either a mixture of ridiculously simple but really, really time-consuming versus not that long and difficult on the surface, but you will mess up a lot. And there's no in between. There's no in between. Okay, sometimes in this level in particular, when I jump from like the floor to the ceiling, you'll see me kind of do like a weird U-turn motion. That's not me. That is the controls being finicky with all the gravity mechanics. Like, see, I just accidentally jumped off the edge because pushing down on the control stick moved me away from the screen, which is the opposite of what it normally is. So in my opinion, once we get to that part of the game, this is going to be the purple coin mission we spend the most time on. I will be very surprised if it is not. Again, in theory, this one's actually really short. In execution, it's really hard. But yeah, see, I don't know why I side flipped actually. I didn't push two directions, I only pushed down. But yeah, basically the problem is you have to get your bearings every time stuff happens. Because the controls change every single time. So now we're back to normal controls, thank goodness. But yeah, on paper, collecting purple coins here isn't that bad, except when you sometimes do weird, like, U-turn motions that completely throw you off, and I'm pretty sure you need to actually jump on those guys, too. Which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Yeah, this is one of those missions that will take forever. Fair warning. I might even grind for lives before doing that one, because it's actually that tough, in my opinion. The one in Battle Rock isn't even that bad. It's the first mission where you have to ride the circular platform. It's also kind of a problem, but it's not nearly as bad. Okay, so I think that's a good stopping place for now. Got 4 stars. No, we got 3 stars, right? Yeah, 2 in Dreadnought, 1 in Deep Dark. Something to note is actually that we have only 10 more stars to go before we actually have to fight Bowser. Fun fact. 104 stars are available without defeating Bowser, with the remaining 15, because you get 1 from Bowser, I think. The remaining 15 being purple coins that are unlocked after you finish the final boss. So, we're almost there. Unfortunately, the pacing will grind to a total halt because of the purple coins, but hey, we've made good progress so far. In any case, thank you for watching, and I hope you join me next time for more Super Mario Galaxy.